you find out very quickly who you can trust. In the first inning, first at bat, if somebody uses a challenge and he's not right and the rest of the team suffers, you're going to find out very quickly who has an idea about what they're challenging.
Buck, you got us? What's up?
Hey, guys. Hey, Trevor. How you doing, man?
Good, Buck. Good to see you, man. I'm glad we get to do this together. This is awesome.
You know how you get a guy towards the end of his career and you know it's there and his body won't cooperate, but his heart's there. And every once in a while, Trevor would show it to me, and I'm like, dang, it's got to be frustrating for him because you know it's there, but the body just wouldn't cooperate. He was a good one, man. And you know what about Trevor? Trevor wasn't scared, guys. He wasn't scared. Here it is, man. See what you can do with it. Here's mine. Show me yours. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. You can keep going. Right, so I'm going to ask. I'm good with it. You guys good with it? No? All right.
Yeah.
Trevor's like, yeah, keep talking about how great I am.
He's handsome. He's got a great hat. Yeah. No, but I'm with you, Buck.
His hat matches Buck's wall. We get it.
Yep.
Buck, did you see the Juan Soto conversation today about what he said about Aaron Judge not hitting behind him and how it's harder for him now and how it's not as easy with the best hitter in the world not hitting behind him? What'd you think of those quotes? Because you managed in New York a couple different times. How important is lineup construction?
It is to a point, but I think it becomes a crutch sometimes. What happened before in years past and who was there and anything that reflects on my teammate or anything, I really choose my words very carefully because somebody is hitting behind him now. There's always those, anytime you start making comparisons between teammates that you've had in the past and whatever, that usually doesn't play well. It may be innocent. It may be something that, you didn't mean the context in which it came out, but once you put it out there, they're going to run with it. So I would be very careful about reflecting on things I had before that I don't have anymore. How's that?
Very well put. Buck, I got some questions about what it's like to be on the hot seat as a manager. As we know, the Twins ended the year not so great last year, and they started this year not so great. Just goes, Rocco Baldelli's got to be thinking about some of this stuff and what his future looks like. If you started a season like this and you came out with much higher expectations than what you're seeing on the field, at what point, at what point do you feel like you need to act and act quickly? Is this like a right away, hey guys, let's figure this out? Or is it, how long do you give your team time to breathe before you start to go flip some chairs?
Well, first of all, you got to be sincere. Nothing plays more quickly than a phony in a locker room. You're around each other too much. If you do something that's not sincere, players realize that in a heartbeat, and they really don't want to think that you're panicking behind the scenes. So, we talk about hot seats. Players are on a hot seat, so to speak. We all have expectations. The managers and coaches aren't any different. Front offices have a little bit more of a line. So I just think in today's world, the shelf life of managers and coaches is so much shorter because no one wants to play the long game much anymore. They want to play the short, what have you done for me lately, instant gratification. Friday is casual day and all the different things that go on. That's fine and dandy, but at some point they can't, every manager understands the job description and where it might end. And it's not always fair. Trust me, it's not always fair, but you understand that going in that at some point your time is going to be done. I've been in places 8, 9 years. I've been in places 2 years, 3 years. It's just, things change. And it's uncomfortable for families. It's uncomfortable for people that are reading all this stuff, but it's what they do. And it's the job description. And you should not be dealt with any easier than players. Every day players come in, especially ones with options, and you're traded, all the other different things that go on. It's a very volatile job. And I think you understand the job description going in.
Buck, what's it like being a manager on the hot seat? You've been there. Is there a moment when you realize, hey, I'm going to get fired soon? Is there a switch in the way someone talks to you? Is there a switch in the way you feel when you go to the park? Every day you go to the park, do you feel, gosh, I have to win to try to save my job? You've been through it all. What's it like being one of these guys that people are talking about their jobs and we're only in April?
I didn't personally. I realized every day, AJ, I woke up how lucky and honored I was to do what I did, coming from my background, and every day, this is not just some cliche. I didn't want the player's job to be any harder because what I might personally be going through, and they didn't wish that on anybody. I think the challenge is to continue to treat people the same and treat them fairly, and that golden rule works pretty good, and regardless of your personal situation, I tried to go out of my way. A lot of players would tell you when we were doing poorly, I was actually more upbeat, and when we had won 6 or 7 in a row, you want to be on top of things so you continue. Baseball season is stretching out the good times and shortening the bad ones because, a team that wins 100 games still loses 62. It's just I don't think the people that haven't been in the arena don't understand the emotional and mental ebbs and flows of the season.
Buck, what was your go-to move? Was it flipping a table? Was it breaking a fungo? Was it yelling and screaming, slamming a door? What was Buck Showalter's, I'm going to show these guys, go-to move?
What would I be showing them, AJ? What
I don't know. Sometimes managers just want to see, look how angry I am, guys, so I'm going to throw the table with food. Or I'm going to yell at somebody just to show them.
No, it was. I didn't really have a lot of that. If it ever happened, it was sincere and it happened. And I think spontaneity shows your true emotions. Sometimes we're always measured with the media and all the different things, but that's why I'm so protective of places where you can let your hair down and be a team. It's spring training. It's a bus. It's an airplane. Places where guys can be themselves because the locker room is basically an interview room most of the time. So I didn't do a lot of that, AJ. We would talk among ourselves, and I would go, "What do you guys think? What's the issue? What should we?" You want to get input back from them and make them feel ownership of what's going on. But I tried to stay real, so to speak. Oh my gosh, he's trying to show us how mad he is. Well, try raising your children like that, and as a parent, and see how that works out.
So I get it. You learned this from John Russell, your old bench coach, because I had him in Florida State League, and one time he had a meeting. We're in Port St. Lucie, and he wasn't a man of many words either. And he said, we lost a game, and he's like, everybody in the locker room. And he just walks in there, and he just looks at us all, and he just walks out and closes the door, and we're all like, wait, what? What is he? I guess he's mad at us? Like, what just happened? He didn't even say a word. He just literally looked at us and went around the room and looked us all in the eye and then just turned and walked out. And we're like, I guess Dad's mad at us.
Guys, there's so many, as you guys know, there's so many emotions that are transferred with a look, with a, it isn't always verbal, and see who can yell the loudest. You want to lose an argument with an umpire, go out there and scream and yell and not listen to a thing he's saying. Most of my arguments that I've won in baseball have been when I've kind of kept my composure and talked in a civil tone to these guys. But there's a time and place, and if you talk to enough people, I have had my moments, and but it was sincere. What you see is what you get. You don't want to come across as a phony. Oh my goodness, I've never seen this side of him. All of a sudden, you're going to win more games because the guy was yelling at you. And every once in a while, you got to put a little, in the giddy up and get a little. I don't like being too predictable. You know what I mean? You like to throw a little unpredictability out there every once in a while. Trevor, do we have any meetings?
Did we? No. When you had something to talk about, you usually just went to the people that you needed to talk to about it with. Or if it was a team thing, you're like, Francisco, Max, come over here. We're going to fix this. And I feel like that worked really well. I think we won 40 more games than we lost that year. So I would say mission accomplished.
You remember the movie theater, right?
Yeah.
Go on.
Real quick.
Wait,
go on.
What?
Movie theater. I'm sorry. I'm confused now. What are we talking about?
Spring training, starting spring training off.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Continue.
Whoa.
Did you take the kids to the movie theater and get them popcorn and candy? I mean, what are we missing here? Clearly, it made a huge impression on Trevor.
I don't think
I'll
Trevor
be honest.
was there. Trevor may not have been there. The night before spring training, we go to a movie theater as a team.
Yeah, I was.
And talk about a lot of things without, AJ, I hated spring training first day when everybody's just ready to get on the field and get it started. You got your spikes on, you're all set. And what happens? The trainer, the traveling secretary, the manager, the hitting coach, the pitching coach, they all give this big spiel, whatever different departments they may have now. And you're sitting there for an hour at least. And I hated that. And I said, I'm not going to do that. So we did all that the night before at a movie theater, had a little movie we played, talked about what we want to do. And then when they got to the ballpark next day, all they had to worry about was baseball instead of all the other junk.
That's cool.
Yeah, I wasn't there. I remember why I wasn't. It took me almost 3 days to get down to Florida because I had 2 flights get canceled, and it was I was in Houston for like 36 hours, so that's why I missed it. Okay, this all makes sense now. I do. Speaking of also unpredictability, like you were mentioning before, we got to see the ABS system in spring. I want to get your take on it. How do you feel about how that was implemented? Do you like the challenge system as opposed to just robo umpires? Because I know I do. I know AJ does, but definitely want your take on it. AJ
does or doesn't?
He likes challenges much more than he likes just robo umpires, getting them on right all the time.
I hate to say this, but I agree with y'all. I think you're going to find out in a hurry which, like, can you imagine in the first inning? I may have the rules wrong, bear with me, but you find out very quickly who you can trust with, because in the first inning, first at bat, if somebody uses a challenge and he's not right and the rest of the team suffers, you're going to find out very quickly who has an idea about what they're challenging. I do like it. I think it's coming. And it's another way that fans can trust the game. They can trust that a ball's a ball, a strike's a strike, and no outside element is going to figure into the W or L. We're going to get it right. I still think we should review more things. And I don't know why they automatically say, well, that's unreviewable. Why? Let's get it right. There was an obstruction play the other night with Pittsburgh, and obviously a very good umpire missed the obstruction when 2 guys were laying in the foul line. The guy had to run around him. That should be reviewed.
Oh, just don't run into each other when you're catching a pop-up, and don't.
Well, that's what I said. I said, why are you going to penalize the offense? Because 2 guys didn't communicate very well.
More in a minute, but first, a quick word from our sponsor of this video. Todd Father, I love the way that modern technology has changed the way that we buy, sell, trade cards, even rip packs. They're called slab packs, and they're on Arena Club. No more shuffling through everything. The common cards are all over the place. Stuff's getting folded out and all messed up. Arena Club keeps it nice and tight in your digital showroom. And then when you want that card and you want to show it off, what do? You just let Arena Club know.
Let them know and grab it and take it with you. Show it off online. I think this is huge just because the fact that you talked about cutting the corners. You want to get a card that doesn't break or doesn't have a problem with it, go right to Arena Club. They have everything you need. Easy money right there for really, really good, exceptional cards.
After your pulls are revealed, they'll immediately be placed in your vault for safekeeping or trading and selling. Right now, 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/Val and use code FAL. That's arenaclub.com/Val, code FAL for 20% off your first purchase. And now back to the video.
Buck Showalter sitting at home in his green room with his tube TV that he still has on, and trying to get the wires, the antennas right to watch the local game. What drives you crazy when you watch games at home? What's the thing you look and say, man, I wish they would change this?
Oh, I don't know. They've done a lot of things. I've been on those competition committees, and you find out when you go in there, why don't they do this? Why don't they do this? And you realize that they've been working on it for 2 years trying to get all the kinks out of it. I would probably say I wish they had somebody in good control of quality control of a ball game, where dugouts are the same home and away, where foul ground is similar, where the warning track is not 12 feet on one field and 10 on the next, where bullpen mounds are the same. They're not different heights or lengths or in different directions. I mean, when you warm up Trevor had a good curveball. When you warm up into the wind and all of a sudden you get on the field and you're throwing against the wind, it's a different curveball. Things like that, just quality control, the batting cages for the visiting team. Just something that controls the quality and the consistency. Hey, you want to be an expansion team? You want to be whatever, you have to meet certain criteria. Your fences have to be a certain height. They have to have certain padding on them. It's all about safety for me. Some of these spring training facilities, I know there's a field without naming it. I wouldn't take our veteran players on the road because it was a safety issue. I just think I'd like to see the quality control of a major league facility be consistent throughout the game. How's that?
That makes sense. All right, Buck, where were you in 1998?
I was starting the first year of the Diamondbacks.
Were you the manager of the Diamondbacks?
Yes.
Okay, because I was in AAA in Salt Lake City, and we went to Tucson.
Yeah,
You're talking about no, you were talking quality control. Now I want to know, and this is the truth. And you tell me if I'm lying. We had Paul Molitor on rehab. The only AAA games he ever played in his life. We're in Tucson. It's like August. It's 172 degrees in Tucson Electric Park down there. You guys had air-conditioned cages. You would not let us use the air-conditioned cages, and Paul Molitor was pissed. And he went out and hit for the cycle, by the way, in that game. His only AAA game he ever played in. He hit for the cycle at 45 years old. Why didn't you let us use those air-conditioned cages?
First of all, AJ, that's another myth that you've chose.
No, that is true. That is truth. They said, Buck Showalter said, you guys cannot use them. You have to hit outside.
Well, I think the manager then was Chris Spire, and he probably used me because he didn't want him to hit over there, because I would always let Paul hit. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't do that.
Just Paul, not the rest of the team.
First of all, I would never do that if you know me. So that's another myth that you're perpetuating. And I would not. There's so many things there in Arizona about socks and hats that I laugh about now, because we did none of that stuff. The only thing we did, we had a mannequin in the middle of the locker room the first year, because we had 5 hats, 5 jerseys, 4 pants, 3 belts, 3 socks. Finally, I said, go down to Sears and Roebuck, buy a mannequin, put it in the middle of the locker room, and dress it every day. But what happened, guys started messing around with the mannequin, so we had to get that out of
there. That's good.
Listen, that's a true story. I don't care what Buck says. Buck might say he didn't say it, but I know he said it. Because we were on the phone. And then you know what happened is we went back there. Because your Tucson team came to Salt Lake, and we had inside cages, and they said, we want to use the cages. We're like, no. Buck said no. And then next time we went to Tucson, guess who got to hit inside? The Buzz.
Definitely not true. Somebody must have used my name to get something done they wanted to do personally. So I would never do that to him or you. But they protected you in the expansion draft. I always wanted you on a club, but I could never get you. People used to go, look at him, and I go, why are you looking at him? You like to win. That's what I liked about you. You like to win.
And I like to hit inside in air conditioning when it's 147 degrees. Buck, speaking of winning, I'm going to Starkville this weekend. Now, you're a Starkville legend, Starkville, Mississippi. Florida, my team is playing Mississippi State in baseball. Is there anything I need to see? Because I've never been to a game at Dudy Noble. So what do I need to experience while I'm at the Dude?
You could go out to left field lofts. They've led the nation, I think, in attendance for like 10 or 15 years in a row. I went back. I signed 2 contracts, one with the Yankees and one with my parents. I'd go back and finish my degree, which I did. Starkville, it was a dry county when I was there. I don't think it is anymore. You'll be impressed. Good facility. They've had a tough year so far, but they just had a good series. I follow them. Good food around there. Get there early, AJ, and soak in the atmosphere.
I can do that. It's not a dry county anymore.
I was going to say,
it is far from a dry. It is a wet county now.
Yeah, not that I had heard that rumor that it was dry, but we didn't have time for that. I was Ron Polk's first recruiting class there, AJ.
Wow. I love Ron Polk. He's still around, man. He still walks around and says hi to everybody. He's amazing.
I think he's doing the color commentary. You'll see him there. Tell him I said hello. He's a legend. I learned a lot of baseball from him.
Buck, I got one more for you. I'm going to jump in. Did you see Trout, who obviously hasn't played much right field, but he jumps for the ball and the fan kind of grabs the baseball? Wasn't as egregious as what happened in the World Series, but do you think everything's fine? I mean, this stuff's been going on for a while, obviously. Contact with fans and players when they're jumping, trying to get a foul ball. Are you okay with the way that all played out?
Well, I go back to the quality control thing. There's a way to keep it from happening if you want to. You're trying to worry about the fans' experience. Like, we've got this netting up now all the way down the foul lines. And we all go, geez, why didn't we do this years ago? We've all been at batting practice or games where people just have gotten hit. Really, it's really ugly to see. And they fixed it. They could fix that. You don't want to move the seats back, but there's a way to put a barrier up there, so to speak, to keep that from happening in the outfield. And you could do it in foul ground down where that happened. But, the umpire got the call right by the way the rules are stated. Here's one where you got no foul ground at all down that corner, but you're trying to enhance the fans' experience by getting them close. But, why is this guy giving him a high five? I don't know. Look what I did. But could you imagine how ticked off you'd be if you were going to make that play? I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, it's
You
been
did
that
make
way.
the play.
You could fix it. You could fix it.
I said that. Put the nets up all the way down like they do in Japan. They have nets all the way down the foul lines, and you can't jump in the stands. But then fans complain, oh, it hurts our view.
I've been to Japan 2 or 3 times, and there's so many. I picked up some things over there. They do things. There's things you can pick up over there, and you go, gosh, why don't we do that? Why haven't we done that?
Cheerleaders,
well, you said no. I think there's something else. they call it something else over there. But I love the way they take batting practice. I love the way they did their warning tracks. I picked up something in Korea, the way they did their warning tracks. If you look at opening day with the Diamondbacks, we did our warning track different. We did it. We stole it from a team in Seoul, Korea.
What'd you do?
Well, basically, you got X number of steps. When you're warning track, so you can look at the ball and know how close you are to the fence. That's why they should all be the same distance. Because if there's a 3-step warning track in one place and a 4-step warning track, it messes you up. So there, they had put grass about 6 feet and right next to the fence, so you could run on grass. You feel the center of a warning track, but as soon as you felt grass again, you had 1 step and a jump. And we had more great catches. Steve Finley loved it, Louis Gonzalez, and other teams were getting gator arms as they got close to the fence. But we couldn't keep the grass growing. There was no sunlight, so we ended up having to take it out. But it was fun for about a month.
Wow.
That's cool.
All right, that's cool. By the way, I can see you loving the 2 batting practice hitters at once, the way they do in Japan. You can get the guy from Mississippi State that throws with both arms, and he could throw to both guys at the same time.
You can get somebody killed there too. The rule was, I talked to their guy, the rule was never, if you muff a ball, never go after it or pick it up. There's another one coming. It's rapid fire. I think it's a little too rapid, quite frankly.
BP?
Yeah, they do BP, and they hit 2 at the same. You hit 2 guys at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so 2 guys throwing and 2 guys hitting at the same time.
Wow.
You know what they had? They had what do you call that thing when you play the piano that gives you the beat? What is it? Trevor knows, I know. It's
Metronome?
called something metronome. They would play that over the loudspeaker at a certain pace, and you go fungo, pitch, fungo, pitch. And you never broke up that rhythm of the BP. And we used to do that with, we'd set a clock up for infield. If you want to do a fast infield, you put it at 4-1, 4 flat. And if you want to do a slow infield, you set it at like 4-6. It was the only way we could get some of the young 17, 18-year-old kids to slow their game down. Some of these kids would come out of the Latin Academy in Dominican, and they would be just so fast, we couldn't get them to slow them down. And so we slowed them down with a clock and said, I don't want you to get the ball over. See how long you can take to get the ball to first base. It was tough.
Wow. That's crazy.
This is fascinating stuff to me. The stuff that Buck comes up with, he loves warning tracks. He loves
the detail, attention to
detail. He loves mannequins. He loves cheerleaders.
But we got to jump.
AJ, you know what? Like you always look like we sit in a room and you go, how do we slow this guy down? He's going too fast. And we had to come up, as a coach, you have to come up with a way that you don't go, hey, slow down. You've got to give them something to slow them down. So we got a water polo clock from the Olympic coach. It was the only one that you could put outside, and if it rained, it was not a problem. And we would set it where the buzzer would go off at 0. And we'd start at like 4-3, 4-4, whatever. And that is how we got some of our kids, American and Latin, to slow down.
We hit all the word bingo in this one. That's cool,
water
though,
polo.
Buck.
Didn't have water polo.
Buck, we got to jump, but this was awesome. Obviously, we're gonna have you swinging by here and there, so appreciate it. Great to have you on. We'll get you back soon.
Trevor, good to see you. Good man you got there. Don't mess him up.
We'll try.
Likewise,
Working
Buck.
on it.
Yeah, AJ and me are pretty rough, as you know, Buck. Thank you. We'll talk soon.
God bless you guys.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.